A summer ceasefire in the 30-year war between Ford and Holden is about to come to an end. The big guns are ready to fire in the opening round of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship at Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. The nation's premier 10 Top Series moves into full battle mode with new cars, new faces and an exciting new race format. Boosting Ford's frontline troops is 1980 World Formula One champion Alan Jones, who launched his new Queensland-based Falcon team last Tuesday. In response, Tui's 1000 winner Larry Perkins has boosted Holden's strength, expanding to a two-car Castrol team with Bathurst co-driver Russell Ingall. This year's ban on tobacco advertising also threatened to close down two of the country's top teams. But former champions Glenn Seaton and Mark Skaife have both returned for active duty, with leaner but no less meaner operations in 1996. Tonight's championship opener also sees some exciting new faces in the V8 ranks. Craig Lowndes, Paul Romano, Stephen Ellery and second-generation star Stephen Richards are just some of the new names keen to rattle touring cars' old guard in 1996. Tonight, for the first time in Shell Series history, the fire-breathing V8s do battle under lights on a specially shortened Eastern Creek layout designed for maximum action. The new L-shaped track cuts the total circuit length from 3.9 to just 2.8 kilometres. Also new for 96 is a reduction in practice time, a switch to 3 20-minute races and just 2 sets of tyres allowed for each car. The teams and drivers which can best adapt to these dramatic changes will tonight reap the reward. It's time. Can reigning champion John Bowe defend Ford's hard-won crown, or can Holden level the score in the V8 war? The battle lies ahead.
Hello and welcome to the Shell Series Touring Car Blast-Off for 96. It has been a blazing hot day here in Sydney's West and the V8 Brigade promise performance to match. In fact, the 95 Touring Car champion John Bowe, now carrying #1 saddlecloth for the Dick Johnson Shell FAI Falcon team, has topped the qualifying with a lap time of 61.32, ahead of Holden's Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton for Ford credit. In fact, Falcon and Commodore alternate through the top 10 positions on the grid. Well, the heat is going to play a factor here, there is no doubt about that. And with the new regulations, the new race format and the new tyre regulations in place, it's going to leave the teams with a lot of hard decisions to make. Let's find out what they're going to do as we join Mark Oastler and Brad Jones.
Yes, indeed, Gary Wilkinson. There are a number of new changes to the 96 Championship, and coming aboard this year to try and help us explain it is an old pal of ours and an all-rounder in the touring cars, Brad Jones. Welcome aboard.
Thanks very much, Mark. Great to be here.
Now, what can we make of these new regulations? 8 tyres only per car, 3 20-minute races. What are the teams got to try and do?
Well, now we only have 2 choices of tyres for the 3 heats, so it's imperative to get it right. The last race is going to be critical, and that's where all the action will be.
There you go, expert comment from Brad Jones. And Bradley joined us earlier in the day for the Privateers Cup, which is held for the privateer teams. And indeed, it was a great start by Steve Reed, who got away very quickly. But Kevin Heffernan also made a great start, but managed to lose it on turn 2. It was also a good start by Richards and Finnegan, who had a terrific battle for 3rd and 4th position throughout the race. Richards, meanwhile, opened up a bit of a gap as he tried to track down Reed. But as we came toward the finish of the race, Richards got very close, but he just couldn't quite close the gap to Reed. So it was Reed who won the race ahead of Richards, and then a gap back to Crick and Terry Finnegan in 3rd and 4th position. Great race there from the Privateers. Well, there's a lot of established stars and a lot of new faces here in 1996. Here's Andy Raymond with one of the new guys.
Yeah, names like Brock, Johnson and Perkins have been around the game quite a while and are still at the top of their game. Many of them are getting a scare from the young guns, one of whom joining me now, Craig Lowndes, 4th fastest qualifier. Nice way to debut.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, it's a good way to start the season. Like, this is only 3 races of 30, so hopefully we can get through this weekend without with the car that's still intact, and we can go on from there.
And qualifying and a bit of practice this morning, you were 2nd fastest. Do you enjoy the hot weather?
It's not too bad. It's the same for everybody. You know, I've done a bit of training over pre-season, so hopefully that'll come in my favour. But you know, the race is going to be tonight. We had a run last night, and the cars run a little bit nice with the nights, a little bit crisp air. So no, we're looking for a good night.
We wish you all the best. Craig Lowndes, starting from position number 4. Let's have a look at the full grid.
Let's see how they line up. In round 1, race 1 of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. There he is, the hot lap specialist John Bowe on pole, 101.33 with Peter Brock alongside him, a Ford Holden front row. Row 2, Glenn Seaton, the new Ford Credit Falcon, with Craig Lowndes, car 15, alongside him.
Row number 3 consists of Tony Longhurst and Wayne Gardner in the Coca-Cola Commodore. Row 4, Alan Jones and Neil Crompton.
Out of row 5 is Dick Johnson in the Shell Falcon with Mark Scaife alongside him in the Gibson Motorsport Commodore. Row 6, Russell Ingall in the Castrol Commodore with teammate Larry Perkins alongside him.
Row number 7, newcomer Stephen Richards in the Valvoline entry, and the top privateer, car number 3, Steve Reed. Row 8 is Stephen Ellery and Paul Romano.
Row 9 is the Sony Commodore of Terry Finnegan with Greg Crick in the Alcare example alongside him. David Parsons in the Freightliner Holden and Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford.
Row number 11, the Price and Act Commodore of Kevin Heffernan with Wayne Russell. Row 12, Bob Pearson and John Cotter.
Plenty of V8s here. Row 13, the back row, John Trimble in the Ostjet Aircraft Charter Falcon with Gary Wilmington in the Wilmington Performance Ford. Well, the heat is on at Eastern Creek Raceway, and it's about to get an awful lot hotter when they unleash the V8s in just a few moments' time. Meanwhile, here's the Eastern Creek logo flying in on a giant flag up in the skies on this beautiful hot day in Sydney. Touchdown almost due for the flag, and we're almost due for blast-off in Heat 1. 5 seconds now till the start of Heat 1. It's going to be a critical run into turn 1 here at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Revs rise. John Bowe and Peter Brock on the front row of the grid. Away they go. Brock gets a sensational start. The grandstand are on their feet. Brock gets a real run down the outside. A huge pack of V8 swinging into turn 1, and it's Brock in control as they head down toward turn 2, leaning on each other. Massive number of V8s here up toward turn 2, dust flying everywhere. It's Brock in command with the Coca-Cola Commodore in second. Bowe got shoved back to third there. Craig Lowndes is Brocky's teammate, 5th or 6th as they shuffle through turn 2 and head up toward the flashback.
One of the Castrol Commodores, in fact, it was Larry Perkins, the Tooheys 1000 winner, and we've got a moment further back in the pack. Peter Brock leads. A fantastic start to Wayne Gardner as the Finnegan Sony audio sound car makes its way back onto the track.
So Peter Brock, tremendous start from the outside. They often say pole position at Eastern Creek is on that outside where the racing rubber's laid down. Brock certainly took advantage of it in 05. But he's got the Coke Commodore. Wayne Gardner right up behind him. A great start from the former world motorcycle champion. John Bowe back in 3rd position. There's Crompton in 4th. Another great start from the Coke car with Lowndes right up behind him. Very close, very torrid action here, Bradley Jones.
It is. There's plenty happening. I was talking to Brock earlier on today, and he's very determined to win the race. He's going all out. But he's got Gardner right on him. That this will turn into be a tyre war of sorts, and the Dunlop's a performer very early on. It'll be interesting to see how the race goes on.
Well, certainly will, knowing the performance of the Bridgestones over the years. Of course, Brock running Bridgestone tyres. They take a while to come in, but boy, aren't they durable, particularly in hot weather conditions.
They are. 3 laps you usually have to do before you can get the speed out of them, where the Dunlop is there right from the start. It's interesting, even though these cars look the same, underneath they're just so different you couldn't believe.
So they come through the switchback there, wheel up in the air as Brock crests the rise. The car gets all light, bounces off the curve there, building up to about 190 kilometres an hour as they swing into turn 5, or the new turn 5 on this shortened circuit. Gardner in 2nd position, really pasting the back bumper of the Mobil car. He's right on top of him. It'll be interesting to see if he can last for this first 20-lap heat.
Peter Brock won't want to leave it too long before the Bridgestone set in, because Gardner from position number 6 is up to 2 and is looking for a way past as they head down the main straightaway. Once again, the crowd going berserk. The favourite is out in front. Glenn Seaton has dropped well back in the field to about 7th after starting in 3rd, so a disappointing start for a new sponsor in the Seaton team.
Well, he's Mr. Popularity, Peter Brock. Most successful driver in Australian Touring Car Championship history, 35 victories from 189 starts. 50 years of age, and the man is still right on the pace.
Car number 1, John Bowe, has come from nowhere. He missed the start from pole position. Gardner got past, and all of a sudden, the number 1 Shell FAI Ford Falcon is back in the race.
We take race cam with Peter Brock aboard Mobil 05. Man hard at work, maximum concentration here, working at the wheel. Looks like a very physical sort of track, Brad Jones.
That certainly is, and you can notice just behind him there's a little esky. I'm not sure whether that's for a cool suit. I say it would. They fill it up full of ice water and actually runs through tubes. It just cools your body down. Larry Perkins was saying earlier it's like 55 degrees inside these cars today, so you certainly need something to keep you cool.
Okay, 3 laps down in this 20-lap battle. It's still Brock in control. Gardner in 2nd. Bowe starting to close the gap to the Coca-Cola Commodore in 3rd position. And then we've got Craig Lowndes, the sensation of qualifying at Bathurst last year. He's had a very controlled build-up to this race, and here he is in 4th position, looking good.
A 3-way dance at the moment, but Lowndes is looking to party. He's moved right up on the back end of the FAI Falcon, down towards what is being termed the flip-flop, and Gardner a little off course there, and Bow right up on the backside. He knows every scratch on the back of the Coke Commodore.
Keeping in mind these really high temperatures, Bradley, is the idea here to try and conserve your tyres, or in 20 minutes you just haven't got time to do that?
Well, you really haven't got time. These guys will be, you know, throwing caution to the wind. The idea at the start of the race is to try and save the tyres a little bit and drive the car as straight as you can. And of course, once the light turns green, you're just, you know, fighting for survival. So they're all pressing on as hard as they can, and they won't think about their tyres until they get it to the end of the race.
Big roar from the crowd. Brock opens it up a couple more tenths as they come across the start-finish line. 4 laps down. He's just put in a 1:02.25. Fair way off the qualifying pace yesterday, but very quick considering these hot conditions. There's Glenn Seaton coming right into the action, right up behind Crompton. This is the battle for 5th and 6th.
A good battle it is at that, and Seaton again searching on the inside for some racing room. We're looking out of the Glenn Seaton car. That is Neil Crompton right ahead. 7 Sport Race Cam bringing in the action as they head down towards the flip-flop. There's the leading group up ahead. Very sharp left and right. That's where it just drops away, Brad Jones.
It does. It's a very tricky part of the circuit there. I'm just watching the back of Crompton's car. It looks to be working quite nicely. I mean, I thought the Coke team probably went for a bit of a safe option on tyres today, and that's why they qualified a little further back, but they're certainly up amongst it at the moment.
And we guess with only 8 tyres to chop and change between 3 heats, these guys may be looking much stronger as the day progresses.
Well, hopefully they will.
Here comes John Bow, meanwhile, sorry Bradley, but Bow down the inside of Wayne Gardner. They're side by side, 260k into turn 1, and Bow sneaks through.
Gardner will be looking to come back down the inside here.
So Gardner gets shuffled back. Very tidy move by Bow. Oh, Bow has quite an unusual line in there. He goes straight across the apex of the corner and almost turns on the spot.
He does, and you also notice that the Falcon of Bow's is smoking quite badly, and I'm not quite sure what that is. I mean, they're so precise with the amount of fuel these cars use nowadays that you wouldn't think that it'd have an overrun of fuel. Maybe there's something else.
5 laps down, quarter distance gone. Of complete 6 as they come around this time. Look at Craig Lowndes, 21-year-old sensation, getting his big chance with the Holden Racing team this year. A lot of pressure on his shoulders.
There certainly is, and if you're involved in a battle with Wayne Gardner, you know you're going to have a fight on your hand.
Well, Craig, he's one of the young lions. He's been tagged a 1-lap specialist, people say. So he's got a lot of pressure to prove he's got the racecraft as well. Look how close he is behind Wayne Gardner's car. Pulls out of the draft, has a look down the inside, coming up to turn 1. Oh, you could have sliced a bit of cheese between those two.
Certainly playing for keeps, aren't they?
So Lowndes, a great move on Gardner there. Gardner shuffled back 2 positions in the space of 2 laps. So now it's a Bridgestone shot car at the front. Dunlop car and another Bridgestone sandwich. We take Seaton's race cam, that battle we were looking at before for 5th and 6th. He's actually passed Neil Crompton while all action was going on. So now it's Brock, Bow, Gardner in 3rd. Sorry, Gardner in 4th, Crompton in 6th, and Seaton moves up to 5th. So that's the top 5.
You saw Craig Lowndes there, the front 2 wheels airborne. And this youngster certainly on a mission as he hones in on the rear end of one John Bow, the defending series champion. There's Lowndes, you can see right ahead of him, John Bow, and off a little bit in the distance is Peter Brock. How dearly HRT would love a 1-2 to start 1996 with.
Well, you can see this striking new paint job, Andy, over the off-season. They've got a new driver, and they decided to freshen up the paint job as well. Quite a striking bit of paintwork there with the Holden Lion now on the front fender. But Brock showing a clean pair of heels too. He's opened it up 2.1 seconds now. The gap over John Bow in 2nd position, Lowndes in 3rd, Gardner in 4th, Seaton now up to 5th, and Crompton in 6th. And I guess we can expect Lynn Seaton to start making a few inroads too, Brad.
I think you can. You'll find that the 3 Bridgestone cars are probably all on exactly the same tyre compound. The case construction on the front of the Ford is slightly different, and obviously that's what you need at the moment. You watch Craig's car as opposed to John Bow's car at the moment, and the Dunlop chute car is just moving around. I know that the Dunlop runners have sort of gone for a very marginal tyre compound mix, and you know, hopefully it's going to be right.
Could pay the price later on in the evening. It's interesting looking at these times too. Both Gardner and Crompton slipping up into the 63, 64 second bracket with everyone else running in the 2s. Those tyres could be giving them trouble already. So 8 laps down as they cross the start-finish line this time around. Bow coming under pressure. from Craig Lowndes. He's really making up some territory on the reigning champ. Brock still in control, 2.1 the gap that time around, so it hasn't grown. Wayne Gardner back in 4th, Seaton in 5th. Boy, it's close and tight stuff at the front here. Lowndes tries to find his way through.
You get the feeling Craig Lowndes has been eyeing off exactly what John Bow's been doing in that sharp left-hand corner. And Lowndes just playing and experimenting. Not a good start to the year for Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 car. Do they sell barbecues at Mitre 10? Because we've got one under the Larkham car.
Well, he may well have run over a curb there. All that smoke coming out of the missing front spoiler section. Brad, he may have run over one of these shark teeth curbs.
I'd say probably dumped a little bit of oil on the circuit and has just slidden off across a curb or over something and damaged the front of the car. It's a pity. They put a lot of work into the Mitre 10 car, hoping for a much improved year this year, and it's not the way they wanted to start, I'm sure.
Craig Lowndes currently the fastest man on the circuit. He's just done a 62 dead as he looks down the outside of Bow. This time Bow moves across to cover his territory. He's a good defensive driver, isn't he?
Well, I'd say Craig is just learning why John Bow is the current champion and how hard he is to pass. JB is known as the hardest bloke in the business to get around, and Craig's probably just experiencing that firsthand.
And with Brock, Brock.
That's Brock's come
amazing.
off. At turn 2, we didn't. Goodness me, a big cloud of dust. Brock seemed to be running on his own. There may have been a lap car involved there, Brad, but it doesn't look like it.
I was just about to say, Brock, looked to have everything so well under control. He was having a glance once or twice a lap, so he had a nice buffer. But he's obviously just gone in just a little bit too deep there. It's a very tricky corner, and off he's gone.
Peter Brock back to 5th as we have a look exactly what happened. And it even happens to the master on occasions.
Could he even locked a brake or got off on the marbles there a bit?
Without going through the whole thing again, it looks like he's come in there, locked the front brake a little bit, and he's just had to get off it, and it's spun.
Okay, here's his teammate, Craig Lowndes. The grandstand get to their feet as Lowndes now hones in on 2nd position. He's got the leader in his sights, right up behind the Shell number 1.
Fastest man on the track is up into 4th. The name Seaton in the Ford is closed right in on Wayne Gardner. So 2 fantastic battles again. 2 completely different cornering strategies.
Fabulous run from Craig Lowndes. Indeed, Andy. His opening round of the Touring Car Championship.
Johnson into the pits.
Oh, wretched luck for Dick Johnson. Not a good start to the season.
Straight into the garage, not a good sign.
So Lowndes all over the bumper of car 1. Now, Brad, I know how hot it is when you're running in behind another car in front. How would his temperatures be under control at the moment if he sits in behind that close?
But no, I think they'd be fine.
Okay, let's look at the way they're running at the moment. Bauer, of course, in control with Lowndes right behind him. Wayne Gardner back in 3rd position. Seaton moving up to 4th. And Peter Brock back in 5th position. We'll be back with you in just a moment. 7 laps to go. Bauer still in control, but coming under enormous pressure here from Craig Lowndes. And Seaton's getting a first-class view, Brad Jones.
He is, but I'll tell you, I think Glenn's got a little bit of a problem here. You notice he's ducking to the opposite side of the road as that Glenn is on going down the straight. So he could be having temperature problems, and that being the case, when he gets a little closer here, he's going to have to get past them quickly, or he could end up boiling his engine.
We'll talk about getting closer. Look how close he is onto the back of the Mobil Commodore.
We've seen that with Glenn Seaton, in fact, last year here, and at the Triple Challenge, as well as Bathurst. So maybe it's a regular occurrence on the Seaton car, but I can assure you of one thing, Glenn Seaton's not aiming to sit behind these 2 for very long.
Well, Glenn's been working very hard on his engine development over the break. He's confident he had that all cured and had a little bit more horsepower, but as Bradley Jones observed there, ducking out of the slipstream, maybe having some engine temperature problems, and it is incredibly hot here this afternoon.
This will also put a bit more pressure on Craig. He's not only got to try and find a way around John Bow, he's got to stop Glenn Seaton from getting around him at the same time.
Glenn Seaton has constantly been in the 61-second category. They're heading down the main straightaway. Yet again, they go across the strike. It is Bow, Lowndes, Seaton,
There's
and
Wayne Gardner. Yep.
The battle a little bit further back. There's Peter Brock, who was leading the race. Mark Scaife one behind him. Neil Crompton in the Coca-Cola Commodore. And Alan Jones, Pack Leader Racing, their touring car debut. 3 Castrol cars, the Longhurst, Ingle and Perkins entries.
Meanwhile, Glenn Seaton here giving Channel 7 viewers a perfect view of the action. Lowndes just moved over to cover his tracks a little bit there, and I believe the drivers too, Bradley, are a bit concerned about these tyres that are very close to the rubbing strips on the S's there.
They are a bit concerned. They're all chained together, so they worried if they hit one, they'll drag them all along the road with them.
So it's certainly keeping them disciplined through that part of the circuit. They said it to be single file through there, and it's certainly proved that way so far. Craig Lowndes, is he just sitting here behind John Bowe ready to pounce?
I don't think so.
Does he have no answer?
And he's certainly having heating problems as well.
So look at that. Lowndes jumps out of the draft behind John Bowe. He's running in nice fresh air. Lowndes tries to drop the temperatures down a little bit. Seaton right up behind the Mobile Commodore. 5 laps to go. We're 3/4 distance. Time running out for Craig Lowndes.
Time also running out for Glenn Seaton, and one guy who's made a miraculous recovery is Wayne Gardner. Seaton now looking right down the inside.
Hey, you know this little part of the circuit they're coming into now? You listen to Seaton's car? The engine revs die down there. What he's doing is he's short shifting the car. He's going from 2nd to 4th gear to try and keep the throttle on to get the power down to the ground so he can close in on Craig a little bit for this part of the circuit.
Glenn Seaton will want to be nice and gentle on the gears after last year snapping a gear stick halfway through the second heat.
He's always been very quick here, Andy. A tremendous success rate for Seaton. Here's Tony Longhurst slipping into the pitch. You can hear, I think it was the front spoiler scraping on the concrete. Yep. Damage to the front of the Castrol Falcon. Not a good start to season 96 for Tony. His brand new Castrol Racing Falcon EF. Wheels coming off. So there's some front end damage here possibly. Meanwhile, back at the front, John Bowe still in control. 4 laps to go. Lowndes running out of options. The same too for Seaton. If you were running in 3rd position here, Bradley, where would you be looking to overtake? I guess this is the only opportunity now to turn 2.
Almost anywhere, I'd say. It's a very difficult thing. Glenn's starting to get aggressive. I think he's going to hit that thing in a minute.
You think it might be a bit of a tap on?
I think that things are going to get a bit desperate. To top it off, you've got the Coca-Cola car closing in as well, so it's going to become a 4-way dice in a minute.
If any of these guys looked in the rear vision mirror, they'd be able to see the whites of the eyes and the driver right behind them. There is not much separating the leading 4 cars.
Tremendous racing here from the V8s. Keep in mind too, last year before Bathurst, they trimmed 200mm from the front spoiler under tray on the front of the Falcons. And they were confident that it had closed the parity gap. And certainly looking at this racing, this bumper-to-bumper run amongst the top 5 is just fantastic.
Gardner is the fastest car on the circuit at the moment, so he's certainly making inroads.
Well, you can see there on the back of race cam with Glenn Seaton's car, Gardner closing the gap, 3 laps to go. So, Bowe in control, Lowndes still in 2nd. Looks like Seaton's powerless to do anything in 3rd. Gardner now coming back toward the last few laps of the race. 3 laps to go. Hard under brakes. Glenn Seaton has a look down the inside of Craig Lowndes' Commodore. Boy, he's getting close there, Brad.
Yep, he's touching him. And Bowe's just showing us why he is the champion. I mean, controlling the race beautifully from the front. Hasn't put a foot wrong. Certainly isn't in the fastest car out there at the moment, but winning the race.
Well, he really is a guy at the height of his powers, isn't he? We saw this all through last year. Tremendous pressure driving when there's an enormous pressure to defend his lead, and he's done it immaculately. He's doing it here again this year. You're seeing a driver at the absolute peak of his career, John Bowe.
And the parity between the cars is quite good. Forget for a second they're all on different tyres. We've got a Ford, Holden, and there's certainly nothing between the 4 of them.
Well, Holden guys trying to level up the score in the V8 war. 2 laps to go. It's currently running at 2-1 in Ford's favour. Big year for Holden. And big year for this man, Wayne Gardner. 2 years in the tough V8 circuit. They haven't won around yet, the Coca-Cola team, and they're very confident this year that they can change that and get up onto the podium. Let's hope so. Wayne Gardner in 4th position. Bowe, Lowndes and Seaton ahead of him. Well, following each other around here, I think it's going to be a bit of a desperate or a bit of a tap if there's going to be any change of positions here, Brad.
Well, yes, I think you're right. It's certainly going to have to be a bit of push and shove, I think, to get by. The only passing move is at turn 2, and they just, they all run around the inside there, so they're going to have to duck and weave and maybe tickle one another up to get by.
Well, look at the amount of ground Gardner's made up on here. He dropped back into the 63 and a half second bracket. Oh, someone's got to wheel off in the dust. Desperate stuff there. But Gardner's come right back into the 62s. It's almost like he's resuscitated the tyres and come back into the battle.
Which is unusual. Dunlops aren't traditionally like that. But it's exactly what's happened. They've done a lot of work on the car over the summer, and it's working perfectly at the moment.
Last lap as we take race cam at the back of Glenn Seaton's Falcon. There's Wayne Gardner closing in. It's getting tight at the top. This leading quartet. We've got Peter Brock back in 5th, Skaith in 6th. Then it's Crompton, Jones, Ingle and Perkins. That's the top 10. Less than 2.8 kilometres to go as they head down toward turn 2 for the final time. Gardner gets a little bit closer under brakes. You can hear Seaton working back through the gears, flame belching from the exhaust of the Coca-Cola Chevy. Very close here, but as we've seen on previous laps, Brad, it really is going to take someone else to make a mistake.
Well, it definitely is. I don't think John Bowe has too much to worry about from here on in. He just keep his nose clean at the front and pick up the first race.
And the big question then will be, you can win one heat, then you've got another 2 to go a bit later in the day, and of course later on this evening. And tyres are going to be critical in that final race. Look at Lowndes. He's not giving up without a fight. Ducks out from behind the Shell 1 Falcon. But there's not a lot he can do. Bowe, masterful display here of defensive driving. Covering all the track that Lowndes needs to be. If he gets a nice clean run out of here, he's home. And let's see if Lowndes tries to make one desperate run. Get up behind the wing of the Shell Falcon. It's 4 in a row. The grandstand's at their feet. Lowndes looks to duck alongside. They're going mad, but Bowe has him covered by barely a car length. Fantastic race, the opening heat of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship for 1996. Well, fabulous bit of racing there. John Bowe picking up where he left off in 95. Craig Lowndes, great run there in 2nd position. Glenn Seaton in 3rd. Wayne Gardner in 4th. And Peter Brock rounded out the 5. We'll be back with more action from the creek in just a moment. Welcome back to Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. Shadows getting a bit longer as the day draws on. Just a sample of the huge crowd at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Could have been down the road at Australia's Wonderland or at the beach, the zoo, playing golf or whatever, but they have all decided to turn up here at Eastern Creek for the great touring car action. Let's look at the way they line up for race 2 in round 1 here. John Bowe, of course, the winner of heat 1, will take pole position again, keeping in mind they start from where they finished in the first heat. Craig Lowndes alongside in car 15. Row 2, Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon, and Wayne Gardner, great finish that. He'll come up onto line 2. Row 3 is 05, Peter Brock after that spin recovering. Mark Scaife alongside him in the Gibson Motorsport Commodore. Row 4, the second of the Coke Commodores, Neil Crompton, and Alan Jones moving up through the field in the Pack Leader Falcon. And just topping out the top 10, row 5 is Russell Ingall and his teammate Larry Perkins. Well, there's the scene. The sun going down in the west. Look at that massive lighting tower there. That'll be illuminating Eastern Creek like you've never seen it before a bit later on this evening.
Young gun Craig Lowndes. Could he be the man to beat, or is it going to be John Bowe? 2 from 2. Gardner, early on the start, they jump on the loud pedal, and it's the Wild Charm from the outside in the Holden Racing Commodore that will lead us into the first turn. Bowe second, Gardner after getting a creeper on the starters third. There you can see all 26 of these V8 Fords and Holdens move through to the field. A great start from Lowndes. Bowe, Gardner, as I said, early on the jump. Glenn Seaton is in 4th. I think Mark Osler, it's Brock in 5th.
Indeed, Andy Raymond, and a great start there from Craig Lowndes. Really got the hammer down, got just the right amount of traction. It was a good drag race between him and Bowe for the first 50 or 60 metres. But then he moved across and took the lead, and that's critical on this track, Brad.
It certainly is. It's a bit unfortunate off the start. Gardner jumped early and they're preparing the black flag for him over there. He was shaking his head as he stopped to start again, so he knew what he was doing wrong. But Lowndes has got it all in front of him here.
Well, boy, this kid is quick. If anything, he's just super fast in the car. And look at the little gap he's opened up on Bowe already as they come around the first time around. The grandstand will go crazy here. Lowndes has already got his big support base. Here they go roaring as he comes past. Wayne Gardner in 3rd position. They're holding the black flag out to Gardner, in fact. That first time around, I'm not sure what that infringement is aimed at, but he's going to have to come into the pits. It's a great disappointment for the Coke team.
Well, I guarantee you it's jumping the start. You just can't sneak up like that, and he knows what it is, so he'll just do the stop and go and get back to business.
A great battle going on for the minors. Glenn Seaton leading the brigade. There is your race leader, Craig Lowndes.
Whoa!
Brock's off again.
It's Brock again.
And that's a hard hit.
2 times. Oh, and there's someone
Scaife
else involved. Scaife as well. Dear, oh dear. Brand new car from Gibson Motorsport there. Very badly crumpled. Brock's in there too. And race cam graphically showed you crunching the wall. Big time. Let's have a look at that again on our race cam. Scaife's in front. Brock goes to the outside to go through turn 2. Back through the gears. We can't really see Scaife. But Brock's trying to go around the outside. Working pretty hard at the wheel. And everything looks like it's in order here.
Looks like he's going around Scaife there.
Was that a contact there, Brad? Yep, bang.
Yep, with the
Seaton. And then Crutch, it looks like Scapes hit him right in the side. And Brock is off. He's a passenger now. And Crutch.
Wow, look at his head.
Neck, yeah. Just a graphic indication of the G-forces in these things when you hit a wall. Boy.
Very disappointing for the Holden Racing team, but at least their young gun, their new boy, is out in front and doing a fantastic job.
Brad Jones just said before the race, if this kid gets off the line, they're going to do it very difficult to catch him.
Well, it's true. There's no doubt John Bowe was holding him up in that first heat, and now he's got the gap. He's got a nice buffer. He's home and hosed, really. I mean, he just needs to sit there and cruise and try and keep it going nicely. They're all running through here. Bowe looked to have a bit of smoke coming out of his car, like a lock bright.
This is an impressive start here too, Bradley, from Alan Jones.
He's currently in position 5 on the racetrack. Gardner has to go to the pit, so he'll move up into position number 4 on the circuit. And how about the lap times of Craig Lowndes?
He's just done a 60.97. That's the new lap record. First time they're racing here, of course, but that's the fastest time so far. So Lowndes really on fire, really opening up 2.1 seconds, the gap over Bowe that time around.
Bowe is the next fastest, and he's over 0.8 of a second in arrears on that single lap.
Here's the brand new pack leader, Falcon. Alan Jones two-car team with Paul Romano, backing from the Philip Morris Corporation. Launched the team in spectacular fashion on Tuesday up at the Gold Coast. And boy, it's been a race against time. The second car, in fact, was only completed at 5 a.m. on the launch morning. So they really have had time against them. But this is a pretty good debut, Brandon.
Oh, fantastic. When you consider the small amount of time they've had to get everything ready and the pace that this car is producing, you look at the Coca-Cola car, it's taken them a couple of years to get everything in order. You look at what they're doing now, and it's a fantastic job.
I'll tell you how busy the pack leader team is. They actually got a hairdresser into the shop, lined everyone up, did their hair so they didn't have to miss out on work during the week.
Okay, let's look back at the top 10. There's Seaton in 3rd position. Field streaming through there. Finnegan first, the lap cars. So you can see a big jumble of V8s, one after the other, thundering down the main straight here through turn 1. Finnegan, tremendous start there. I'm mistaken, I thought he was being lapped. He's actually in 8th position. What a fabulous start from the privateer.
Fantastic job he's doing, and you know, here we have the leaders again. Craig very smooth through there. John Bowe trying as hard as he can to run him down, but not looking to have too much success.
Shadows lengthening here as the sun goes down. Dick Johnson put a new engine in. Dunlop race cam aboard Shell FAI 17. Engine problem apparently in the first heat. A new one put in the brake. So Johnson back in action and running in 7th position.
Team Johnson were very happy that there was quite a gap between heats. They had a lot of work to do, and Dick doing extremely well. There he is on screen at the moment, screaming down the main straightaway here at Eastern Creek.
His teammate at the moment, John Bowe, still holding a gap 2.2 seconds that time around, so Lowndes opened up the lead just a 10th. You can see the sun in the windscreen of the cars as they come through that very quick turn 1 up toward turn 2, and well and truly in the shadows now.
Brad Jones, that wouldn't be a lot of fun at high speed coming into the first corner, looking directly into the sun.
Well, it's a tough corner at the best of days, especially not being able to see where you can go. You notice Dick Johnson's got sunglasses on. A few of the guys are gone for dark visors, and it's a pretty tricky part of the circuit.
He's one of the main players in the 2-car teams this year. Larry Perkins, 2-car Castrol team. He's brought his Bathurst winning co-driver along with him, Russell Ingall, in this second Castrol Commodore. A brand new car in Larry's hands. This is in fact the Bathurst winner.
Actually, Russell's in front of the boss at the moment. I don't know if that's that's smart strategically at the first race, but he is doing a very good job. And as you said, it's a proven car. Larry's got the new one, and Russell's pedaling it very, very well.
So Ingall in 6th position up ahead of Johnson. The order now, Lowndes opening up 2.4 seconds that time around over Bowe. Then it's Seaton, Crompton, Jones. There's Ingall just ducking around behind Dick Johnson and Terry Finnegan. As I said, a great start from the Sydney Privateer in 8th position. Meanwhile, back at the front of the pack, here's Craig Lowndes. He's leading a merry dance here. Craig Lowndes well in control. John Bowe hanging on in 2nd position. Ben Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon in 3rd. Head of Neil Crompton in the Coke Commodore. And in the top 5, Alan Jones in the new pack leader racing Falcon EF. Stephen Richards in trouble there. Debut in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Car 32 making his way back onto the track. So hard work out there for Stevie Richards. Meanwhile, here's Larry Perkins. Lights ablaze on Tony Longhurst's Falcon. Castrol, a big involvement in touring car racing in 1996, Brad.
Certainly have. They've obviously upped the ante. They've got 3 cars running around out there now and fairly close to being nose to tail. So they're just closing in on Finnegan there, who's doing a fantastic job, running 8th.
Whoa, it's Bow.
Bow's off.
Well, there was word from the pits. He thought his tyres were pretty tired when he finished that first heat. He may have overcooked it there. That's where Brock went off in the first heat as well.
As Bow came out of the kiddie litter, Team Boss Dick Johnson went hollering by. So generally a disappointing day.
So Bow slips back from his 2nd position. That'll take even more heat off Lowndes. Let's have a look at that again on replay. And he's just lost it.
I'd say it's a fairly similar move to what happened to Brock in the first race. They come in there very quickly and probably just a touch too much rear brake.
Look at this fabulous race cam shot from the front of Larry Perkins' Castrol Commodore, and then this guy doing a miraculous job in front of him, Terry Finnegan, the Sony Autosound Commodore. It's an old VP model car. Sydney privateer, doesn't do it on a lot of bucks, but when he does turn up at the racetrack, he's always got the car well turned out, and he is giving Larry Perkins a run for his money here. We're aboard the Bathurst winner, Larry Perkins, having a lot of trouble getting past this Sydney privateer. Really closes up on the back of the car this time. A major go down the inside. It looks like he's got him. So great competitive run from Terry Finnegan, who slips back to 8th position. Craig Lowndes well in control. He's opened that gap with Bow's spin up to 8.3 seconds and opening up all the time. This must be great for Holden Racing Team. You know, 6 years now in existence. Australian Touring Car Championship results haven't been that thick on the ground, Brad.
No, that's true. HRT is seen by a lot of the other competitors in pit lane as being the Ferrari of touring car racing in Australia, and you know, I hope they can get a bit of a result here to kick them on and have a great season. He's certainly got a good gap over Seaton, and Seaton's certainly pedalling as hard as he can, but he's just really not running as hard as Craig.
Look at those lap times. Fastest lap, of course, was Lowndes, 60.97. Now running in the 3. Seaton just done a 62.1. There's Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford in trouble again.
Certainly not his day today.
Oh, he's having a tough time. Came into the touring car category last year and really had a very difficult debut season. And his 2nd championship not starting off as well. More, in fact, spoiler damage on the front of the Mitre 10 Ford. I think he lost one in the first heat.
Yeah.
This is number 2. Dick Johnson closing on Russell Ingall. Johnson currently in 6th position. Ingall in 5th. And there's John Bow recovering from that spin. He's got right back on the rear bumper of the Boss. And he'll be looking to try and pick his way through. I think Dick Johnson will give him a hand, Brett.
I think I can almost guarantee you that the Boss won't be waving him by. Now he'll have to fight for every inch of the road, but this looks like being quite a dice here.
Dunlop Race Cam takes the ball. There's John Trimble in trouble. That's the new Sahara Desert down the end of turn 1 there. After Mark Scaife's horrific crash there beginning of last season, they've put in some terrific safety measures down at turn 1. We take Dunlop Race Cam again with Johnson. He's right up behind Russell Ingall. Very impressive opening touring car championship round for Russell Ingall.
There's nothing here in straight line speed. You notice Ingall just give the brakes a touch here. Just a bit of a security touch with the left foot just to make sure that you still have got brakes before you jump on them. And there's really nothing between these two cars in a straight line.
I guess this turn 2 is just so critical to your lap speed. That's why maybe people have been spinning off there, because they really give it everything.
And it's really one of the very few places you can pass on this new circuit. So you've really got to try so hard there. And as you said, that's one of the reasons that you just go off.
Mark Scaife and Peter Brock in deep discussion there.
You think they're talking about Glenn Seaton?
I'd say there's a fair chance of that, Brett.
Very good one.
Stephen Richards, meanwhile, comes into the pits, car 32, the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. And by the wide girth he's taking there, he's turning into pit lane.
Very disappointing for Stephen. He's a great little competitor. Everything he turns his hand to, he does very, very well at. It's great to see Cummins and Valvoline get behind him and get him in a V8. I'm sure in time he's going to be a front runner, no doubt about that.
5.5 laps to go for Craig Lowndes, our race leader. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And Glenn Seaton in trouble too, car 30.
Look at the front spoiler, he's torn that off.
He's bitten the dust. We did see some body damage on the car from the beginning of the race. He's going very, very slowly. Oh,
look at the wheel.
Tyre.
He's got a flat tyre. He's punctured a tyre.
Now, of course, that'll be great for the Coke team. It'll move Neil Crompton up to 2nd position. So, oh, it looks like some pretty bad damage under there, Brad.
certainly is. There's things hanging off it everywhere. He's just going to try and get back to the pits. It's a very difficult thing when you're in the car. You don't realise how much damage is underneath the car or to the side of it. So you just try and get it back there. You keep your eye on the gauges.
Oh, man, keeping your eye on the action. Look at this. Dick Johnson's getting very, very serious about Russell Ingall, as Dunlop Race Cam shows you. Has a look on the outside. He's made up that little bit of real estate that Ingall had on him on the last couple of laps, right up behind the wing of the Castrol Commodore. Let's see if he goes for the big move into turn 2. Gee, Dick's really pumped up here.
Just can't quite do it. They're so close, aren't they? It's the performance of these two cars. Dick's obviously getting out of there a little bit better, as Russell is now well aware of.
Sounded like he was right off the gas, waiting for Ingall's car to get in the straight line. Up to 190 kilometres an hour. Hard brake right on the right hand side of the circuit. Turn across through this difficult part.
You watch the back of Ingall's car as he's coming out of the corners and it's sliding around. His tyres are probably just got that greasy feel about him at this point in time.
Oof. Slow car there, Greg Crick. Alcare Commodore. Greg Crick slowing down, 4 laps to go.
Puncture as well.
Oh, punctured tyre. So Glenn Seaton not the only man with damaged rubber.
Same side too.
Yeah. Neil Crompton holds down second position, 3 laps to go, but there's Alan Jones closing up in his rear view mirror. Great start from the Pack Leader Racing team. First time out in these Stone Brothers Bill Falcons. Jones has got the lights on, and I reckon he'd have the eyes on too, Brett.
He certainly would. You know when they've got the lights on, the heads down, that they mean business, and Jonesy would be chasing a result. He'd, it's a great job the Stones have done with this car. Bridgestone tyres. His car's looking pretty good on the circuit, but must say so's the Coke car. Their times are very similar. Jones is just a touch faster. Oh, he's a bit of action.
John Bowles got in front of the boss. As Dunlop Race Cam shows you, Bow there will set off in pursuit of Ingall. But these two Shell cars running as a duo really haven't made that much of an impression, have they? Neil Crompton in second position. And boy, if he can bring this one home, that'll put him on the front row for the final heat under lights. But gee, he's going to have to fight for this every inch of the way. Alan Jones closing in on the bumper of the Coke Commodore, 2 laps to go. No shortage of horsepower either for the Pack Leader Ford.
No, the cars are definitely strong, and Jones is just a couple of tenths faster than Crompton, so it's going to be an interesting couple of laps. Oh, he's gone down the inside.
Talk about interesting, there's going to be fisticuffs here, they're going to touch it, Jones goes round. Oh dear, oh dear, there's all sorts of damage to the bodywork of this brand new Falcon. He won't like that.
Well, that could have very nearly ended in big tears, and Jonesy's got a problem now. He can't go get this gravel out the front there, and he's just not too sure whether to go through it or not. Here we go.
Going to get on the replay. Pack Leader.
What's your rear brake slot?
And he's lost it. Crompton. You can see the flame out there. He's off the throttle, just turning the front end. He managed to survive, but Jones now has lost that third position.
Very easy mistake to make. They've run down the inside into that corner, and Crompton's just held his ground, and Jonesy's going just a bit too fast. Here's our leader.
There's our race leader, Craig Lowndes, on his final lap. 10.6 seconds, the gap over Neil Crompton. He's absolutely streeting it here.
And the truth of the matter is, he's really looking after his tyres. You know, it's a great win. He's having a bit of look up now to see if he can see second, which he can't. And, the mobile car is doing a fantastic job.
Well, he said to me yesterday it was just so important for him to get out there, get consistent fast laps in and start winning motor races. And, boy, this is a pretty good start to the season for Craig Lowndes. Russell Ingall will, of course, move up to third position after Jones' spin. Lights on, like cat's eyes almost. The red lenses on the HRT Commodore. And Lowndes is just absolutely on his own. Daylight in second. As he swings it back onto pit straight for the final time. The grandstand have been right behind this youngster. 21-year-old Holden hero, and the guy who looks like he's got a huge career ahead of him. Onto pit straight for the final time. The grandstand stand and cheer as Craig Lowndes brings it across the line. Fist out of the window in jubilation and takes victory in Heat 2, Round 1 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. A great win. Fantastic result there for Craig Lowndes in the mobile HRT Commodore. Neil Crompton, good result there too for the Sydney team. Russell Ingall in third position. John Bowe fighting back from that spin into fourth. And Dickie Johnson with a new engine on board made it into the top 5.
Craig Lowndes, heat number 1, you were almost there. Heat 2, you took the checker.
Yeah, the first heat we managed to get up to second, which put us on the front row, and that start of that second heat was a fantastic start for me. Best one to date, and hopefully I can prove another one again this afternoon, because now we've still got one race to go. We can't sort of start popping the champagne yet.
Well, Craig Lowndes has every reason to be smiling, but this man has every reason not to be. Peter Brock, his teammate. You can see that damaged car getting pulled onto the truck. Let's check out the points. And Craig Lowndes, it is, in fact, leading the points at this stage with 1 heat to go on 36 points. John Bowe right behind him on 32. Neil Crompton now moves up the ladder, 22 points. Russell Ingall on 16. And Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit car on 14 points with 1 heat to go. And talk about battle damage. Look at that. Mark Scaife's brand new Commodore. And they will not be happy chappies. We're going to a break. Back with more action from the Creek in just a moment. There it is, beautiful Sydney town in all its glory at night under lights. The CBD of Sydney, and it's well and truly dark in the New South Wales capital right at the moment. Here we are on the grid, and there's the floodlights in their full glory as well, lighting up the grid for this final Heat 3 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship from Eastern Creek. Fantastic sight there. Craig Lowndes will lead them away this time from that victory in Heat 2, with Neil Crompton in the Coca-Cola Commodore alongside him. Russell Ingall in the Castrol Commodore will start out of row 2 with John Bowe alongside the Castrol Holden. Dick Johnson behind them with Wayne Gardner alongside car 17. Row 4, Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon with Larry Perkins in the Castrol Holden alongside him. Rounding out the 10, Paul Romano moving up through the pack in the pack leader racing Falcon EF, and Terry Finnegan in the Sony Autosound Commodore.
The V8 Brigade ready to blast in the dark. This is heat number 3 on tonight's program. Lowndes and Crompton share the honours. Who will it be as they rocket into turn number 1? It's the kid again with the hole shot. Heading down a blaze of lights. Crompton has not given an inch on the outside, looking for some racing room. Glenn Seaton making his way through the field, but once again it is Lowndes from Crompton. The other Coca-Cola car of Wayne Gardner up there. The 2 Shell cars, Johnson and Bowe. Russell Ingall in the Castrol entry.
Come back through the back part of the circuit, looking magnificent under lights here, Eastern Creek. Peter Brock and Mark Scaife's cars both too badly damaged to continue in the 3rd heat, unfortunately. So Lowndes alone to fight. The Holden Racing team at the front of the field. They come up through the switchback. What sort of a challenge does this present to the drivers driving at night, Bradley? Any difference?
It should be a lot better for them, really. It'll be a little bit cooler, won't be so hard on the tyres. Maybe the Bridgestone guys might have to work a little harder earlier to get the heat into their tyres, but as you can see from the job Craig's doing, it's not really a problem.
Craig Lowndes leads them down the main straightaway for the first time in this one. Yet another good start from Neil Crompton as the crowd goes nuts. They're really warming to Craig Lowndes. Russell Ingall, Mark Osler, has been one of the stars of the program, up into 3rd place.
Really has been outstanding. Guy very strong in European Formula Ford, and now on the inside comes Wayne Gardner, fighting back from that black flag in the 2nd heat. He's really pumped up. I know he was on fire in the pits a few minutes ago, so we really want to get a good result out of this final heat. Up behind his teammate Neil Crompton. Ingall shuffled back 1 position to 4th. As we take race cam aboard Dick Johnson's car, Dunlop race cam, in behind Russell Ingall. You can just see how busy they're working across this twisty part of the circuit.
You can also get a feel of how well lit Eastern Creek is tonight. A few of the drivers had some reservations before tonight's action. It is extremely well lit, and the guys enjoying themselves out there on the track. Russell Ingall, the pressure is on the Castrol pilot now. Dick Johnson right behind John Bowe, a place further back.
Well, it's been a great fight back from Dick Johnson. Had an engine problem in the 1st heat, had to change engine, started from the rear of the 2nd heat. Fought his way up on the grid for the start of this 3rd, and he's really on fire here tonight. FAI 17, Johnson running in 5th position, right behind Ingall, with Gardner, Crompton and Lowndes ahead of him.
Both Gardner and Johnson this afternoon and tonight have not had the ideal run. Gardner, of course, was black flag and had a stop-go penalty in heat number 2. Johnson pitted early in heat number 1. So for these 2 guys to fight back in the vein they have has just been absolutely outstanding. There you have Wayne Gardner, hot on the heels of his co-driver and team partner, Neil Crompton. Is there going to be team orders here, Brad Jones?
Well, at the moment, Gardner's going a little bit faster than Neil, so I'm not sure. I don't think so. They certainly out there fighting for, you know, every part of the circuit between themselves, but Crompton won't want to hold Gardner up, and he's looking pretty good in the championship. He's got a nice points position, so we'll just watch for a couple of laps.
Glenn Seton will really be on fire too, Bradley Jones. He's starting on a new set of tyres in this second heat. He's up to 11th already. So watch the Ford Credit Falcon as these laps unfold. And
he's, you know, doing the same sort of pace as the couple of cars we're looking at now. Ooh. It's interesting here. Gardner has a different driving style. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but what tends to happen is when you come into a corner, he angles off and brakes as he comes down. Now we've got Bow at the back of this pack. He'd be pretty desperate to get through here, Mark.
Looking like at the moment the two Shell Fords on a charge. John Bow said he really has used up his tyres. He had to pick out of those 8 tyres he had available for the 3 heats, try and pick the best 4, and he didn't seem to have much of a selection on his plate.
Did he say it was something like picking the lesser of the 2 evils? I think I heard him quote. And Bow, as Mark and Bradley have both pointed out, desperate to get past both the team boss and Russell Ingall.
Russell Ingall, of course, making his debut with Larry Perkins. Bathurst last year, first time with Larry, first time they win the race from almost a 1-lap deficit. An incredible run for Russell, and he's really showing that form is no fluke as Bow sneaks through on the inside of Johnson. Well, if he's running out of rubber, he's certainly got a bit left at the moment.
Very nice move.
Was that being kind on the boss's part, do you think, Bradley?
Probably slightly. I mean, he certainly doesn't want to see his 2 cars in the wall, but no, I think Dick doesn't sort of cut John too much slack, especially the first round of the championship. Every driver is out there to win. Now here they go to the Coke cars.
Well, that's Gardner sneaking through on the outside. I think Neil opened the door there, perhaps.
Yeah, I certainly don't think Neil slipped a gear.
So all these Dunlop guys running in the 62, mid-62 second bracket Lowndes. Fastest lap so far, 62 dead. He's just fired off a 2-2. So he's really got about half a second on these guys at the moment, and opening the gap all the time. 2.8 seconds that time around. 5 laps completed.
Glenn Seton breathing fire in his Ford Credit Ford. As Mark alluded to earlier, he started well back in the field. There is one of the pack leader cars.
Paul Romano, Alan Jones' teammate. Just up there in 11th position, just outside the top 10. Youngster, 22-year-old from Queensland, debuted in the V8 category in a Commodore last year, and now has changed this level 1 operation. And look at this as Glenn Seton closes in right behind Alan Jones.
There could be a little bit of feeling here.
Just a touch.
Well, they're both Falcons. They're both on Bridgestone tyres, and these guys are former teammates, so there will be a big notch you can carve in your gun, whoever comes out winner of this little scrap.
Glenn Seton, many expected to be the force here at Eastern Creek. He's had a lot of success here in Sydney's outer west. And as we saw in heat number 2, things really haven't gone Glenn's way. He was forced to start from the rear of the field in this, the 3rd heat. He's come through really well and now chasing Alan Jones, a slower car in the way. Both drivers managed to get round without a problem, and there is the freight train that heads down the main straight.
Quite literally the charge of the light brigade as they come down the main straight. It's still Lowndes in control. Gardner second, Crompton, Ingall in 4th, John Bow, Dick Johnson, Tony Longhurst, Larry Perkins, Alan Jones, and Glenn Seton climbing up into the top 10.
Well, Wayne Gardner has really stretched quite a gap on Neil Crompton, his co-driver. We saw Gardner pass Crompton a lap or so ago. And Crompton has fallen to the clutches of Ingall, and here's John Bow now having a look inside the Castrol car. Perhaps not the ideal spot to look for a pass. They will be nose to tail as they come out of the flip-flop.
Oh, Stephen Richards in trouble again.
The nightmare continues for Team Valvoline.
We've seen him doing a bit of lawn mowing earlier on. He's back out on the grass again, back on the circuit, fortunately, without too much damage, car 32. But this is the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, Ingall, Bow, Johnson, Tony Longhurst. Very spirited run from the Castrol Falcon too, as we take Dunlop Race Cam aboard Dick Johnson's Ford as he's in this great battle. Flat out down the main straight, reaching speeds about 260 kilometres an hour before they break for this daunting turn 1. Hook in hard here. Bradley Jones, it looks like it's a very physical circuit to drive Eastern Creek.
Very demanding circuit. It's very hard on the right front tyre, in actual fact. There goes John Bow. Well, you know.
Oh, look at the damage to the front too. He's given the guy in front of serious
He's given Ingall a bit of a tickle up there, and unfortunately spun.
Well, he did say his tyres were going away from him. He didn't have much life left in him. Do you think that's just overcooking it on the rubber? Wayne Gardner, let's have a look at that on the replay. And he's, yeah, big damage to the front of the car there.
They run the brake balance in these cars so close. As you see from John's car there, it's a bit of a smack in the front, but just lock the rears, and they keep that so fine.
There is Dick Johnson, team boss, Shell FAI Racing. Tony Longhurst, this is the Battle of Queensland in progress now. Back down the main straightaway, Neil Crompton heading the tribe. Right behind him, Russell Ingall, and Ingall now starting to challenge. The big mover and big shaker on the track is Wayne Gardner, occupying position number 2.
It's just on a 61.75. That's 0.2 of a second faster than Craig Lowndes' quickest time in this third heat. So Gardner is really flying. There's our race leader, Craig Lowndes, 2.3 seconds the gap at the moment as he leads them through the dark. Let's check how they sit at the moment. Lowndes in charge, Wayne Gardner, as you said, on a real charge in second place, Neil Crompton in third, Russell Ingall in the Castrol Commodore in fourth, and Dick Johnson rounds out the 5. Don't go away. We'll be back with plenty more in just a moment. Almost half distance in this final heat 3 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship opener from Eastern Creek. This is Neil Crompton. Russell Ingall behind in the battle for third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Wayne Gardner, the real charger in the pack. He's closed the gap to 2 seconds. Our race leader, Craig Lowndes, so we'll keep an eye on that.
There's Crompton in the number 7 Coca-Cola Commodore. And just when it looks as though Russell Ingall is about to pounce, Neil manages to find just that little bit extra to move out ahead. Dick Johnson behind Ingall, and there is Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon EF. And Castrol, as we were stating earlier, a huge interest in touring cars this year. 3 cars painted up in the Castrol colours. Tony Longhurst, you could do a lot worse than find a guy like that to fly your flagship.
Last of the lightweight Ford shells in operation. Tony was well into building this car when they outlawed the lightweight Ford shell, so he's been allowed to continue with it. No weight advantage, of course. Has to ballast the car up to the new 1350 kilogram weight limit. And look at Glenn Seaton, just talking about the Castrol Falcon. Seaton is really on a charge. He's right up behind Longhurst now in 7th position, leaving Perkins, Jones and Romano in his wake. So Seaton on a real flyer. Keep in mind, he's on fresh tyres.
Alan Jones, it looks like, could be struggling a little bit with tyres. He was nice and loose as they came over the flip-flop. Jones trailing Larry Perkins.
Whoa!
Whoa, a moment for Glenn Seaton as we join him for race cam.
You see Seaton grab a huge armful of lock. It was almost 180 degrees, Brad Jones.
Well, he's certainly pedalling this thing as hard as he can. He's, you know, Glenn's a very relaxed driver. You can see from the way he's sitting there, there's a bit of a glance around.
Mitre 10, 3 out of 3 for Marcus. He's knocked the lip off another Mitre 10 front spoiler. So he's not having the best of opening rounds for his Shell Championship this year.
Down the inside of Longhurst.
Let's take on race cam as he sneaks down the inside of the Castrol Falcon. That'll move him up to 6th position. He really is flying.
There's your race leader, Craig Lowndes from Victoria.
The real news here, it's down to 0.9 of a second that time around. There is Gardner and the red and white Coca-Cola Commodore behind them. Could this be a situation, Brad, where the Dunlops are working better in these cooler temperatures?
Oh, I'd say this will be an interesting test for Craig. Gardner's certainly catching him. They pulled a second out of him on that lap, so Craig's obviously had a little bit of trouble with traffic. And it'll be interesting to see how he puts up with the acid test.
So 8 laps to go. Look back through the top 10 here on the main straight. Just see Lowndes, Gardner and Crompton sneak through.
Quite a gaggle after Crompton.
There's Crompton there. Then we've got, I think it's Ingall, Johnson, Seaton, Longhurst, Jones. There's Larry Perkins in 9th position. And Paul Romano right behind him in 10th. Good run from Romano. Fair bit of pressure on the youngster's shoulders. And John Bowe, meanwhile, has come into pit lane. Here's his teammate Dick Johnson, locked in a big battle with Glenn Seaton. As we said, Seaton on a real charge right up behind Johnson in 5th position right now. There's Bowe. And a bit of battle damage there, Brad.
Not a good start to his championship year, really. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle from here.
Down go the curtains on the John Bowe pit. Not a good start for the year.
Glenn Seaton, meanwhile, Ingle continues the attack, pulls out of the draft behind the Shell 17 Falcon. Look at the amount of horsepower he's getting out of this Ford Credit Falcon as he sneaks down the inside of Dick Johnson's car, picks up another position. That's up to 4th. He's only got Crompton, Gardner and Lowndes ahead of him. He's really flying, Brad.
Fantastic job, really. His car's obviously handling very well. Glenn's cars have never been unbelievably strong. Oh, big move under Ingle there. A bit of a touch. But his car's working great. He's obviously got the good tyres on it, and he's marching towards the front. He's doing the same pace as the leaders. He's just got a bit of a traffic problem here.
Couldn't get closer than that at a turn 2. Braking from 190 kilometres an hour, turn across this difficult switchback. Ingle have his mirrors full of Ford Credit Ford here. They come back onto the circuit, up toward turn 5, turn 6. 14 laps completed this time around, 6 to go.
I can assure you Russell Ingle knows exactly every move Glenn Seaton is making at the moment. The two all but touched earlier on in this lap. Seaton, he did it to Johnson last lap. Can he out-drag Ingle as they head down the main straightaway?
See how much corner exit speed he had there, Brett. He's just taking yards off him.
Yeah, it's true. The car's not necessarily faster in a straight line, even though it looks like it here, but he's just getting out of the corner so much better and putting the power down and just driving straight by them. Looks like he's got another 100 horsepower on board.
So Seaton picks up another one. He's up to 3rd. Here comes Dick Johnson up the inside of Ingle. So all the positions changing here, and here comes Jones as well, Mr. Aggression. We saw him come off at turn 2 in heat 2, and he's managed to survive that time around. So Jones on a real charge here too. It's really getting tight at the front of the field with 5.5 laps to go.
A great battle mid-pack, and Russell Ingle unfortunately has lost 4 spots over the past 1.5 laps. Dick Johnson now under a lot of pressure. Alan Jones, the former World Formula One champion, starting to close in. A great debut for pack leader racing here tonight at Eastern Creek.
This is a great run from Dick Johnson too, very competitive here tonight. Got Alan Jones in his mirrors. He's getting attacked from both sides. Comes start across the start-finish line again. 15 laps completed for the leader, 5 to go. So it's Lowndes, 1.4 seconds in front of Gardner, Crompton, Seaton, Johnson, and Alan Jones in 6th position. Chasing hard, Tony Longhurst and Russell Ingle. Impressive debut from the youngster. Drafted into the new Alan Jones pack leader racing team this year. After just 1 year in the V8 categories, a privateer, he sneaks down the inside of Ingle. Ingle really is losing a bit of speed here.
I'd say he's really running out of tyres. I mean, it's he's had a great performance in the last race and just probably used the touch too much up. But Paul Romano's car was only finished Thursday afternoon. He's doing a great job and had a lot of promise last year, drove really well, and certainly right amongst it now. He's all over Tony.
Impressive debut from these Fords. Engines by Campbell Little, the former BMW factory engine tuner. Alan Jones, the Stone brothers, of course, joining in the partnership. He's got the best of people working for him. Bridgestone tyre contract and a Ford factory team as well. So he's set up his own touring car team. He's certainly done it the right way. And the car's looking very, very competitive in this opening round.
And Paul's doing a great job. He's not got too much pressure on him. He's sure he needs results, but he's doing a fantastic job. He must be very happy. Oh, that's a bit of a look down the inside of Tony.
He's really monstering Longhurst here. Romano's in 8th, Longhurst in 7th, and fighting fiercely. Romano up the inside. Looks like he's got him covered here under brakes. Very tidy manoeuvre from the 22-year-old. Son of Bap Romano, the former sports car racer from the 80s. And really showing all the skill his old man showed back in those days. Less than 2 laps to go now. Here's our race leader, Craig Lowndes. Under a bit of pressure this time from Wayne Gardner, who's been maintaining that gap. 2 seconds, 1.4 seconds as they hit traffic. Craig is driving this car very, very hard.
He is driving the car very hard, and he's doing a great job. Gardner's got the fastest lap of the race, and he's slowly reeling him in, but you know, Craig hasn't lost his head. He's doing a very, very good job here.
So there's Gardner, 2nd position.
Having a go.
A serious go. His teammate Crompton still in 3rd position. About 10 seconds behind now. So these two sprinting away at the front. Glenn Seaton, of course, in 4th. Last lap comes up for Craig Lowndes. Gardner. The gap 2.5 that time around, so he hasn't been able to close the gap to Lowndes.
No, I think the start really was what killed it for Wayne. He took him a couple of laps to get by a few cars, and by then Craig had gone and it was all over. But great drive by Gardner. The Coke team have really shown that they're coming up with the goods. Here we're looking at Craig again. Looks like something's dragging on the ground off the Ashby car just in front of it there.
Yeah, Lansvale smash repairs. Looks like a bit of damage to the driver's door too. Something dragging, but here's Craig Lowndes. Less than half a lap to go in the Mobil Commodore. As he comes up just past the Lansvale smash repairs car, Steve Reed at the wheel this weekend, and Crompton. Boy, oh boy, has this guy got bad luck. Flat tyre. Spectacular puncture here as it flaps on the bodywork. Going to try and bring it home, I imagine. But here's our race winner, Craig Lowndes, and I imagine he'll be the round winner. Cross the start-finish line. Craig Lowndes, the grandstand, on their feet as the youngster wins 2 from 3 in his Australian Touring Car Championship debut. Honestly, you couldn't ask for more than that, Brent.
No, a great performance. HRT have had a bittersweet night. There's Crompton still limping around trying to get home. He couldn't believe his luck, I'm sure.
Well, he was running third. Let's just hope he can get across the start-finish line and finish off the evening. Let's check out the way they finished on the Shell race score. Craig Lowndes, of course, 2 from 3, as we said. Wayne Gardner, a great second place. Glenn Seaton really fighting back there for third. Dick Johnson hanging on for fourth. And Alan Jones in the pack leader Racing Falcon rounded out the 5.
3 very exciting heats tonight in round number 1 of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. And third place tonight to the 1995 champion. Congratulations, John Bowe.
Thanks, mate. It's funny to be up here when I didn't finish the last race, but I guess that's what it's all about, the consistency thing. I had a few problems in the last race. I was in more trouble than the early settlers, but my congratulations to Craig and Wayne. They did a tremendous job.
John, is there added pressure as being defending champion?
No, not really, but we've got a bit of work to do.
John, we wish you all the best. Congratulations. Second place tonight in the Coca-Cola Commodore, Mr. Wayne Gardner. Wayne, a very successful night for both yourself and Neil.
No, I think the team's really come of age now. You know, we've done our 2 years apprenticeship, and we've had some hard knocks along the way. But I think really, you know, we sort of made it to the top now, and hey, if we can keep these same sort of progress going towards the end of the year, and who knows, maybe we can even pull the championship. It'd be really nice, wouldn't it, Andy?
Nice racing, night racing at Eastern Creek. Did you enjoy?
I did, actually. I think it's been a great success. I think the formula of 3 races is really good, although I think this new 2 tyres for 3 races is a difficult thing to deal with. But I think it's been a real success. I think it's a lot of fun racing tonight, and I think it's very, very entertaining for the spectators.
Certainly, no doubt you'll be up here with us again during the season. Congratulations. At this juncture, I would invite Ross Brody, the motorsport manager for Shell, to present the winner's garland to the winner of round number 1, Mr. Craig Lowndes. Craig, a huge reception. You're the flavour of the month.
Oh, it's only the start of the year. Hopefully we can have a few more of these and make it the flavour at the end of the year.
A full-time gig with Mobil HRT?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. The guys have been very supportive. Obviously, no, it's not easy to put a young guy in a car, and the way they're priced at the moment, and then put him out in the racetrack with all these other guys. That's what makes it so special, being able to beat them. But, you know, you never know. It's only the start of the year. Come Sandown next weekend, we might be at the middle of the field. We don't know. Hopefully not.
You've got some old heads ready to jump on your backside.
I have so, yes.
Craig, we wish you all the best. Congratulations. Gary, a great night's racing. Let's have a look at the total points.
A popular win, wasn't it? The first in a sparkling championship career for Craig Lowndes. He'd go on to claim the championship in his debut season, as well as the Sandown 500 and Bathurst 1000, alongside his great Kiwi mate Greg Murphy. A year later, he'd head over to Europe, while at home the 5-litre category was rebranded as V8 Supercars and continued to go from strength to strength. Well, it's been great fun again looking back at the early V8 era with you. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Until we meet again on another edition of 7 Sports Magic Moments of Motorsport, it's bye for now.